During my sister's wedding, I learned two things in the same breath: how far a coward will go for money, and how far I'll go to protect the people I love. I was standing just off to the side of the ballroom, holding my sister's bouquet while she fixed her veil, when her groom, Ethan Miller, leaned in so close I could feel his breath on my neck. His lips barely moved. "Buy us a house," he whispered. "Or I'll tell everyone you tried to break us up. I'll say you wanted me first." For a second, the room tilted. I heard the string quartet, the murmur of guests, the clink of champagne glasses, and his words sitting in my ear like a snake. Instead of screaming, I smiled. I slipped my hand into my clutch, feeling the cool edge of what I'd brought just in case. He thought he was the only one with a plan. He was wrong. My name is Lauren Hayes. I'm 32, and my little sister Emily has always been the soft one in the family. I got the sharp edges, the law degree, the long hours as a corporate attorney, the constant, "You're too serious, Lauren." Emily got the dimples, the art degree, the fairy tale heart. When she brought Ethan home for the first time, I wanted to like him. I really did. "I swear, Lauren," Emily had gushed over the phone. "He's different. He listens. He remembers the stupidest little things. He brought me soup when I had a cold after our second date." I'd smiled, half teasing, half protective. "Does he have a job, Em? Or is he just professionally thoughtful?" "He's in tech sales," she said quickly. "He does really well, actually." When they pulled into our parents' driveway that Sunday, Ethan stepped out of his black SUV with a bouquet for Mom, a bottle of bourbon for Dad, and a small gift bag for me. That detail should have been sweet. Instead, it felt calculated. "Lauren," he said, flashing a white, almost too perfect smile. "Your sister talks about you constantly. The legendary big sister. Corporate shark, right?" "Attorney," I corrected, shaking his hand. His grip was firm, his eyes bright and just a little too assessing. "Nice to meet you." He handed me the gift bag. Inside was a leather-bound notebook, embossed with my initials in gold. "For your brilliant ideas," he said. "Thought you'd need a place to plan world domination." Emily giggled like it was the cutest thing she'd ever heard. I smiled. "Because that's what you do at family dinners." But as we sat around the table and Ethan talked about his big deals, his high-level clients, his crazy commissions, something in my chest stayed cold. "Sales is all about trust," he said, refilling Dad's wine glass without asking. "If people believe in you, they'll sign anything." "Dangerous philosophy," I said lightly. "Especially if the person they believe in is lying." He laughed, but his eyes flickered for a second. Just a second. Most people would have missed it. I didn't. For a few months, I tried to ignore my instincts. Emily moved in with Ethan. Their Instagram turned into a highlight reel. Brunches, rooftop parties, weekend trips. Then the money requests started. It was subtle at first. Emily called one evening, voice too bright. "Hey, Lar, totally random question. How hard is it to, co-sign for a small loan?" My shoulders tensed. "Why?" "Oh, nothing huge," she said. "Ethan's just switching jobs and there was some payroll mess, and rent is due." "Emily." I hated the edge in my voice, but it slipped out. "You moved in with him 3 months ago." "I know," she said quickly. "It's just temporary. You know how startups are. You're always saying cash flow matters." "Cash flow does matter," I said. "That's why you don't move in with someone whose cash flow is a mystery." She went quiet. "You don't like him," she said softly. "Just say it." "I don't know him," I corrected. "There's a difference." 2 weeks later, Mom called. "Lauren," she said, her voice tight. "Emily told me you refused to help them." She sounded hurt. "What exactly did she tell you?" "That Ethan had a small financial hiccup and you lectured her instead of supporting her." I closed my eyes. "Do you want my version or hers?" Mom sighed. "I just want my girls to get along." So did I. But wanting something and pretending everything is fine are not the same. The next red flag came at my firm's holiday party. Emily begged to bring Ethan as my +1 so he could network. Against my better judgment, I said yes. Within an hour, he had a scotch in his hand and was laughing with my boss, Mark Sullivan. I watched from across the room as Ethan clapped Mark on the shoulder, leaning in too close. "Honestly, Mark," Ethan said, just loud enough for me to hear, "Lauren undersells herself. She could be partner already if she didn't overthink everything." My jaw tightened. Later, he cornered me near the bar. "You're welcome," he said. "For what?" "For talking you up. I mentioned your billables. Your boss was impressed." I stared at him. "How do you know my billables?" He smiled lazily. "I've seen the papers on your desk at your place." "My apartment. The one I'd let them stay in for a week when their water heater broke." "You were reading my work files?" I asked. "Oh, come on," he said. I glimpsed a few numbers. "Relax, Lauren. You really do take everything so seriously." That night, lying awake in bed, I opened my laptop and typed Ethan Miller Phoenix Tech Sales into the search bar. The results were thin. A sparse LinkedIn. One tagged photo from someone's bachelor party. A Yelp review he wrote trashing a restaurant for not treating him with respect. No company webpage. No team photos. No proof of his top performer claims. My gut stopped whispering and started screaming. I gave myself a week. A week of asking questions, of watching more carefully, of telling myself I was being paranoid. Then Emily called with news. "We're engaged," she squealed through the phone. "He proposed last night." My stomach dropped. "Wow," I managed. "That's fast." "It feels right," she said. "And we're looking at venues already." "Oh, and hey, this is crazy, but Ethan thinks it would be smart if we did a small prenup, just to keep things clean. Like, your lawyer brain would approve." I froze. "He said that?" "Yeah, he wants everything to be fair. He even asked if you'd review it, just to save on legal fees." There it was. A man with no clear job history, vague income, asking me, his fiancée's attorney's sister, to help draft a prenup. My skin crawled. I called my friend Rachel Cooper, a forensic accountant I'd worked with on fraud cases. "Can you run a quiet background on someone?" I asked. "For you?" she said. "Always." "Who is he?" "Ethan Miller. Lives in Phoenix, claims he's in tech sales." She whistled softly. "You finally dating someone?" "It's my sister's fiancé," I said. "And something feels off." "Send me what you have," she said. 2 days later, Rachel called back. "Okay," she said. "Short version? Your gut is excellent. He's a mess." A cold weight settled in my chest. "Define mess." "He's floated between 3 different sales jobs in 5 years," she said. "All commission-based, all short stints. He's got $62,000 in credit card debt, 2 maxed personal lines of credit, and his car is leased under a company that dissolved last year." I swallowed. "Anything else?" "Yeah," she said. "There's a pattern of Zelle and PayPal transfers from women over the last few years. Same amounts, same vague memos. Help, loan. Thank you, baby." One of the names shows up in a small claims suit from 2 years ago. She sued him for unpaid loans lost because there was no contract. My hand tightened around the phone. "And Lauren?" Rachel added, voice softer now. I pulled public records. "There's a harassment complaint filed against him in Chicago, dropped before charges. But the language? It sounds familiar. Emotional manipulation, financial pressure, threats to lie." For a moment I couldn't breathe. "Emily, can you send me everything?" I asked. "Already did," she said. "And Lauren?" "Yeah? Be careful how you use it. Guys like this are good at flipping the story." I knew that better than anyone. I'd spent the last 6 years tearing apart fraudsters in court. Now one of them was trying to marry my sister. I printed Rachel's report and stared at it until the words blurred. Then I put it in a plain folder and drove to Emily's apartment. She opened the door in leggings and an oversized sweatshirt that said, "Bride." Her hair was in a messy bun, and her eyes were shining. "Lar," she said, pulling me into a hug. "You're just in time to help me choose centerpieces." "Can we talk?" I asked. "Privately?" Her smile dimmed a little. "Okay." We sat at her tiny kitchen table, lace samples and floral brochures strewn everywhere. I slid the folder toward her. "What's this?" she asked. "Just look," I said. "Please." She opened it, flipping through the pages slowly. Credit reports, job history, the harassment complaint, the pattern of women and loans. Her face went pale, then blotchy red. "What is this?" she whispered. "Facts," I said softly. Rachel pulled public records. "I didn't hack anything." "I'm not trying to hurt you, Emily. I'm trying to protect you." She shook her head, tears welling. No. This is wrong. It has to be. He told me about the debt, she snapped. He said his ex ruined his credit. He's working so hard to fix it. You don't know him like I do. I took a breath. What about the woman who sued him for the unpaid loans? She was crazy, Emily said, too fast. He told me she was obsessed with him. She made things up. And the harassment complaint? Silence. Emily, I said softly, read the language. It sounds exactly like what you've been describing when you talk about how stressed he gets. How he pokes at you until you cave. She slammed the folder shut. Stop it. Stop it, she shouted, standing up so fast her chair scraped the floor. You always do this. You did it with every guy I dated in college. You pick them apart, you find flaws, you convince me they're not good enough. That's not fair, I said quietly. Some of them weren't good enough. You know that now. And some of them were, she cried. But you didn't trust me. You never trust me. You just trust your precious gut and your spreadsheets. The words hit harder than I expected. She wiped her eyes angrily. This is jealousy, she said. You don't have anyone. You work all the time. You don't get what it's like to be loved like this. So you're trying to ruin it. That's not true, I whispered. Take your stupid papers and go, she said. If you can't support me, at least stay out of my way. I left the folder on the table. Emily, I love you, I said at the door. No matter what. Even if you hate me after this. She turned her back. 2 hours later, I got a text from her. Don't come to the engagement party. Ethan doesn't want you there. The words sat on my screen like a bruise I couldn't stop pressing. For 3 weeks, Emily didn't answer my calls. Mom tried to play mediator, but every conversation ended the same way. Just apologize, Mom begged. Even if you don't mean it. She's getting married. Don't ruin this. I'm not apologizing for showing her the truth, I said. I'd rather she hate me now than call me from a lawyer's office in 5 years asking how to get away from him. Mom sighed. You sound just like Dad. That was not a compliment. The wedding marched closer. The invitations went out. Mine arrived last, with my name written in Emily's careful handwriting. I stared at it for a long time. Then I RSVP'd yes. 2 nights before the wedding, I got a text from an unknown number. It's Ethan. We need to talk. Alone. My pulse quickened. About? About you minding your own business. Come by the venue tomorrow at 6. The planner will let you in. Every instinct I had told me this was a trap. So I did what I always do when I smell a trap. I prepared. I called Rachel. Can you swing by my place at 5 tomorrow? I asked. I need a witness. And I need you to bring that little recorder you use for client interviews. You're really going? She asked. If he's going to come after me, I said, I'd rather know his playbook. The next evening, the reception hall was a dream. White roses, tall candles, crystals catching the light. It smelled like money and vanilla and denial. Ethan was waiting near the head table, sleeves rolled up, tie loosened. He looked like a groom from a magazine spread. Lauren, he said, spreading his arms as if we were old friends. Glad you came. My recorder was already on, hidden in the neckline of my dress beneath a small lace shawl. I don't have a lot of time, I said. What do you want? He chuckled. Straight to the point. That's one thing I almost admire about you. Almost? He moved closer. Too close. Look, he said quietly. I know you've been snooping. Credit checks, old girlfriends, whatever. You're not as subtle as you think. My jaw clenched. But here's the thing, he continued. Emily doesn't care. She loves me. And if you keep pushing, you're just gonna push her further away. From me, I said. From your whole family, he said. Because I'm done playing nice. He lowered his voice so only I could hear. Tomorrow, during the wedding, you're going to smile, stand up, and give your little maid of honor speech. You're going to say how happy you are for us. You're going to shut your mouth about my past, and then you're going to help us. Help you how? I asked. He smiled, shark-like. Emily and I found this gorgeous house in Paradise Valley. A little out of our budget, he shrugged. But not out of yours. I stared at him. You want me to buy you a house? Buy us a house, he corrected. Or at least put up a family loan. No paperwork, no questions. And if I don't? He leaned in so close I could see the flecks of green in his eyes. Then after the ceremony, he said softly, I tell everyone you tried to break us up. That you came on to me. That you said Emily wasn't good enough for you. But I was. Revulsion rolled through me. No one will believe that, I said. Oh, won't they? He asked, arching a brow. Think about it. The single, overworked big sister who can't stand to see her little sister happy. You've already been digging. Emily told me how obsessive you are. All I have to do is twist it a little. His smile turned cruel. I'll say you threatened me. That you said you'd expose fake stories if I didn't break it off. You know how fast rumors spread in a family, in a church, in your firm. My heart pounded, but my voice stayed level. So, that's your plan, I said. Blackmail me into buying you a house. This is a fallit remedy of present state. Blackmail is such an ugly word, he said. Let's call it an exchange. You get to keep your reputation. I get the life I deserve. I let out a slow breath. You just made the biggest mistake of your life, I said quietly. He laughed. You're not going to do anything, Lauren. You love Emily too much. You'd burn yourself before you'd scorch her wedding. He wasn't entirely wrong, which is why I didn't plan to burn the wedding. Just him. On the day of the wedding, Emily looked like something out of a fairy tale. Long lace sleeves, a soft tulle skirt, hair in dark waves down her back. When I walked into the bridal suite, she froze. I didn't think you'd come, she said. I wouldn't miss your wedding, I replied. You're my sister. Her eyes filled for a moment, then she blinked the tears away. Just, please, she whispered. Don't start anything today. I swallowed hard. I won't start anything, I said carefully. She hugged me, and for a brief second she was 8 again, clinging to me because of a nightmare. The ceremony was held in a garden behind the venue. White chairs, rose petals, a flower arch. As I stood beside Emily, holding her bouquet while she repeated her vows, my heart twisted. When the officiant said, "If anyone has any reason why these two should not be joined in matrimony, speak now or forever hold your peace," I felt 100 eyes flicker toward me. I stayed silent. Not yet. The reception was in the ballroom, glittering with lights and joy and ignorance. I sat at the head table between Emily and my parents, hands laced together in my lap. My clutch lay next to my plate, heavier than it looked. When it was time for toasts, the DJ called my name. And now a few words from our maid of honor, the bride's sister, Lauren. Applause scattered through the room. I stood, picked up my champagne glass, and my clutch. I walked to the little stage where the DJ's equipment was set up. My heels sounded too loud on the parquet floor. Ethan watched me with a smug little smile. I took the microphone, my hand steady. Hi everyone, I said. I'm Lauren, Emily's big sister. Thank you all for being here. Polite murmurs. I had a whole speech written, I continued, about how Emily used to sneak into my bed during thunderstorms, about how she once tried to cut her own bangs and nearly blinded herself. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Emily smiled weakly. But last night, I said, something happened that made that speech irrelevant. Ethan frowned. I turned to the DJ. Before I go on, I said, I'd like to play something. Could you plug this in? From my clutch, I pulled out a small USB drive and the tiny recorder. Rachel had helped me sync the audio file to the drive and run a quick timestamp verification that morning. Lauren, what are you doing? Emily whispered. Giving you the truth, I said softly. The DJ hesitated. Is this? Yes, I said. Please. The music cut. The chatter died down. A low hum of feedback then. Look, Ethan's voice said through the speakers, unmistakable. I know you've been snooping. Credit checks, old girlfriends, whatever. You're not as subtle as you think. The room went still. Ethan shot to his feet. Turn that off, he snapped. Don't, I said to the DJ. Tomorrow, during the wedding, you're going to smile. And then you're going to help us. Emily and I found this gorgeous house in Paradise Valley, but not out of yours. Gasps. Mutters. Emily stared at Ethan like she'd never seen him before. My voice echoed next. You want me to buy you a house? Buy us a house, Ethan's recorded voice corrected. Or at least put up a family loan. No paperwork, no questions. Then after the ceremony, I tell everyone you tried to break us up, that you came on to me. Someone dropped a glass. Ethan lunged toward the DJ table. 2 of his groomsmen grabbed his arms. Don't touch that, I snapped. This is my wedding gift to my sister. Your reputation, your firm, your family. Ethan's voice continued. All I have to do is twist it a little. The last line rang out. Then silence. I lowered the microphone. I recorded that last night, I said quietly. Arizona is a one-party consent state. It's legal. And I did it because I knew, if I told you this without proof, you'd think I was jealous, controlling, trying to ruin Emily's happiness. I turned to my sister. Em, I know you may never forgive me, but I'd rather you walk out of here heartbroken than walk out of here legally bound to a man who sees you as a paycheck. Emily's face crumpled. She looked at Ethan. Her voice broke. Is that real? He straightened his jacket, his expression morphing from panic to performance in an instant. She edited it, he said. She's a lawyer. She knows how to cut things. She hates me, Emily. She's been trying to break us up from the beginning. Rachel stood up from her table near the back. I'm a forensic accountant, she called out. I verified the file this morning. No cuts, no edits. Just him. All eyes swung back to Ethan. For the first time since I'd met him, he looked small. Emily, he said, reaching for her hand. Baby, listen, she jerked away. Did you threaten my sister? She whispered. Did you really ask her to buy you a house? His jaw worked. No sound came out. The officiant stood awkwardly in the corner. My parents looked like the floor had been ripped out from under them. Slowly, Emily reached up and unpinned her veil. She laid it on the table beside her bouquet. The wedding is over, she said, voice shaking but loud enough for everyone to hear. The room erupted. The rest of that day blurred into a mess of raised voices, whispered apologies, and stunned relatives. Ethan tried to salvage what he could. You have no proof of anything else, he snapped at me as his groomsmen herded him toward the exit. You just ruined your sister's life, you know that? I have more than you think, I replied calmly. Your harassment complaint, your past loans, your debt. If you come near her again, I will hand all of it to the DA and any woman you've ever scammed. His eyes flashed with something darker than anger, fear. You'll regret this, he hissed. He stormed out of the ballroom, bow tie askew, leaving behind a trail of wilted white rose petals and 100 unanswered questions. Emily locked herself in the bridal suite. For an hour, no one could get through to her. The planner tried to salvage the reception, suggesting people enjoy the food anyway. Eyes. Eventually, I knocked on the suite door. It's me, I said softly. Silence. I'm sitting on the floor, I added. My dress is getting wrinkled. Can you at least let me ruin it inside where there's air conditioning? A choked noise came from the other side. Then the door opened a crack. Her mascara was smeared, hair half undone, wedding dress crumpled. She looked like every bride's nightmare. Can I come in? I asked. She nodded, stepping aside. For a moment, we just stood there, both of us breathing too hard. You recorded him, she finally said. On purpose. Yes, I said. You planned this. Yes, her eyes filled again. Why didn't you warn me? I tried, I said quietly. You didn't want to hear it. She flinched. I took a breath. I wasn't going to play that today unless he pushed me, I said. I was ready to keep my mouth shut if he left you alone. But when he threatened me, when he made it clear he'd extort you and destroy our family to get what he wanted, I couldn't walk you down that aisle with a clean conscience. She sank onto the little bench by the vanity. I feel so stupid, she whispered. How did I not see it? Because you loved him, I said gently. And because he's good at this. It's not your fault someone targeted the part of you that believes in people. She let out a broken laugh. You sound like a therapist. I sound like a sister who's watched too many clients walk into my office after marrying men like him, I said. For the first time all day, she looked me straight in the eyes. I said horrible things to you, she murmured. About you being jealous. About you not wanting me to be happy. I smiled sadly. You weren't entirely wrong about me hating him, I said. But I'd set myself on fire before I ever tried to destroy your happiness. She leaned forward suddenly and hugged me, sobbing into my shoulder. I'm so embarrassed, she cried. Everyone saw, everyone knows. Good, I said softly. She pulled back, shocked. Good? Emily, if this had happened quietly, I said, you'd be tempted to go back. Now everyone saw who he really is. He can't spin this. Not with witnesses. Not with audio. He lost his favorite weapon. Secrecy. She sniffed. I hate that you're right, she muttered. I know, I said. It's my curse. We sat there until her tears slowed. Eventually she asked, what do we tell people? The truth, I said. That he tried to blackmail your sister into buying him a house, and you chose yourself instead. Sounds dramatic, she said weakly. You did always crave a big exit, I teased. She managed a small laugh. Outside, I could hear guests leaving, voices buzzing with gossip. I knew the story would spread. It already was, but I also knew this. The next time Ethan tried to pull this game on someone else, someone in that room would remember today. And maybe they'd warn the next Emily before it got this far. The weeks that followed felt like walking through wreckage. Some relatives called to say I was brave. Others hinted I'd gone too far. A few said, couldn't you have handled it privately? Privately. Privately was exactly how men like Ethan thrived. Emily moved back in with our parents for a while, then into a small apartment of her own. She started therapy. She blocked his number. She unfollowed his friends. One day, sitting at my kitchen table with a mug of coffee between her hands, she said, do you have the report? The one you showed me before? I hesitated. Are you sure? I need to see, she said. Not because I want to torture myself, because I want to understand just how lucky I am. So I showed her. We went through Rachel's report line by line. The debts, the women, the complaint. At the end, Emily let out a long breath. Okay, she said. I'm officially relieved and mortified at the same time. Welcome to adulthood, I said. She smacked my arm lightly. We didn't hear from Ethan directly, but Rachel forwarded me a notice. His credit score tanked further. A new lawsuit had been filed against him by yet another ex. I didn't feel triumphant, just tired. One evening, as we walked through a quiet park, Emily turned to me. You know, she said, when you stood up at the wedding, I hated you. I know, I replied. I thought you'd chosen being right over loving me, she continued. But now I get it. Sometimes loving someone means making them hate you. For a while. I swallowed, my throat tight. I never wanted you to hate me, I said. I know, she said, and that's why it worked. We sat on a bench, watching the sunset turn the sky orange and purple. So, she said eventually, if I ever date again, are you going to run a full background check? Yes, I said without hesitation. She laughed. Good, she said. That's what big sisters are for. People ask me sometimes if I regret what I did. If I regret detonating a wedding in front of 100 people. Here's my answer. I watched my sister almost sign away her future to a man who saw her as a stepping stone. I saw the trap. I had proof of the trap. I heard him threaten me to secure the trap, and I had the means to blow it apart. The revenge wasn't humiliating Ethan. It wasn't the gasps in that ballroom or the way his face turned white when he heard his own voice booming over the speakers. The real revenge was this. My sister sitting beside me, free. Her life not legally tied to his debt, his manipulation, his threats. Her future still hers. If protecting that means some people think I'm dramatic, controlling, or too intense, so be it. I'd do it again. Every single time.